Your new song, Bad Decision, it's out now, and I'm excited to talk to you because it's so catchy, and I think people have had such a fun response to it. I know you're often described, though, as a country rock artist. Do you have a way that you tend to describe the music you make?
Yeah, I mean, Bad Decisions is kind of a little bit different than what I usually do. I write a lot of emotional and genuine kind of heartfelt country songs. So this kind of shows a little bit of my rock side and some of my influences growing up.
That's a great segue to my next question is, who were some of those musical artists that you were really influenced by when you were growing up?
I had a lot. I was definitely influenced by like my dad's music. He would listen to 80s and 90s rock and punk and grunge. So I had Nirvana and Pearl Jam and U2 was my first concert. So they were a huge influence as well. And then as I got a little older, I found my own musical taste, which happened to be country music. And I got into my inspirations, such as, you know, Darius Rucker and Dierks Bentley, Blake Shelton, Chris Stapleton became a huge influence for me a little later down the road. And yeah, that kind of, that rock meets country where my background kind of collided.
Yeah, I mean, you you can see the influences, and Darius actually just got a star on the Walk of Fame, so anything is possible for you, Orlando.
Absolutely. He was big time for me growing up in South Florida and growing up in Miami. You know, that song, Only Want to Be With You, was I'm such a baby man. The Dolphins make me cry. That was everywhere. So definitely a big part of my musical inspiration.
Okay, going into Bad Decisions, what was the inspiration behind it?
Bad Decision is kind of a song about those nights where we get the best stories, right? Those late nights that turn into early mornings that make for the best stories, and that pre-chorus of the song says no one ever talks about the nights they got perfect sleep because we tend to talk about the ones that are a little more wild and create some lasting memories and some lasting stories.
I think it's a great song for you. It's perfect, I think, for the type of music that you make, though. What kind of fan response have you been receiving to it?
Yeah, it's been a really, really good response. I mean, like I said, this song is a little deviation from what I usually, what I've been releasing before, which was kind of more heartfelt and really, ballady kind of songs. And this was just a fun rock song, fun rocker that people actually liked the change of pace. And they're like, man, it's cool to see a different side of you and, see that you can do that as well.
Well, I know that you wrote the song yourself. Do you have a typical songwriting process? Like, do you need to have a beat before you can craft the lyrics? How does it typically work for you, or is there no typical way for you?
Well, for me, it usually spawns from the lyrics. I'm a big, for me, it always starts with the story and the lyrics and what I'm trying to say. Even before I could play guitar, been playing guitar for a few years. So even before I could put music to my lyrics, it was all about writing poems and writing stories. And so for me, it spawns from the lyrics, usually just like one line or two that pops up into my head, and then I'll sit down and I'll try to flesh it out. I'll get my guitar and put some melody to it.
I know the song is produced by Nick Worley. How hands-on are you, though, when it comes to the production side of the music that you make? Or do you trust Nick at this point to truly go, okay, we need a little bit more guitar here. Could you twang it up a little bit over on this lyric?
Yeah, no, Nick is an absolute master at doing that. So I have a lot of faith in him. We've become kind of like a little production duo now. I leave the producing and most of the engineering to his side, but I will give my 2 cents when it comes to the music and if there's melody changes I want, or if I want a certain instrument highlighted here. I think him and I work in tandem there. I think we make a pretty good team.
So far, so good. That's what I would say, which is also another great way to get to my next question, which is I gotta ask, is there a new album coming, an EP on the way soon from you, Orlando?
Yeah, there's a lot of music on the way for me. I'm excited about. Have another song dropping December 15th. It's called "The Man." It'll be my last release of 2024, 2023. But in 2024, I have a debut EP coming. in the beginning of the year. So it'll be exciting when that finally gets out there.
I have to say I loved you on The Voice, and I thought Camila was the perfect, coach for you as well. What did you take away from your time being on there, whether someone offered you a little bit of lesson into crafting your music or whether it's even just friendships you made along while you were there?
Well, the friendships were invaluable. I think that was one of the big reasons I finally made the leap to Nashville. I'd been thinking about it for years. And finally, what pushed me was after The Voice, meeting so many incredible artists who are based here in Nashville and who now I call friends. So that was a big thing for me. But also, I learned a lot from the coaches as well, as in, they kept preaching to us, embrace who you are, embrace your uniqueness as an artist and what makes you you, and show it on stage and show it in your music. And so, you know, before I might have tried to conform to what's hitting right now, what's mainstream right now, what's going to get people's attention. And now I'm just like, what's on my, I write what's on my heart, and on stage, I let those impulses carry me. And that was encouraged by the voice coaches.
Yeah, I think it's so great that they've set up artists like Orville Peck who you don't have to see their face
Yeah.
to know that they're a good songwriter, like and Fancy Haygood, is maybe not your typical even Jelly Roll at this point is not like your typical looking
Right.
country
That's-
musician.
that's-
But I love that you're boasted as the Cuban cowboy, and I think it works for you.
it's kind of like, it's true to who I am and where I come from. So I wear it proudly.
Who are some artists you would love to collaborate with on a song in the future?
Yeah, no, there's so many. I think we talked about one earlier. Darius Rucker would definitely be a guy that I would love to, that would be like a lifelong dream for me. So that would be really cool. Casey Musgraves, I'm a huge fan of her work. I think male female duet there would be awesome. Chris Stapleton, who's been one of my biggest inspirations. Um, yeah, and the list goes on and on. Tim McGraw. So there's so many.
Well, I'll see if maybe Blake or Gwen can work that up for you.
Definitely, that'd be amazing.
Who are some artists that you are really enjoying listening to now and you think have a great handle on current country music? Maybe you touched on them for the duets you'd like to share.
Yeah, man. There's gosh, there's so many. I like Muscadine Bloodline, and uh, I've been listening to Zach Top. He's got his own like real classic country feel, which I respect the heck out of. I love it. And then I always go back to listening to the country artists that I grew up with that are still releasing music, Tim McGraw and Kenny Chesney, and that it's constant for me. And through the voice, I also have friends releasing music. Peyton Aldridge, Bodie, Bryce Leatherwood just released a song. So I always can keep up with my friends releasing music, which is really fun too.
Very nice of you as well. It's a good friend.
For sure, they're great.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the beautiful music you continue to make?
Yeah, I would say just thank you. Thank you for being along here for the journey. It's been really cool up to this point, but 2024 is going to be major, and I just want to release as much music as possible, tell my story, and really start to, carve my own lane here in the country world. And I just hope that you'll be along for the ride.